Howdy, my name is Nonat, and welcome to the first archetype deep dive of... How many was that again? Oh, right. 155! And some of them are like half as big as a class. I mean, maybe that's over-exaggerating, but look, some of these are like 2 or 3 pages long. But that's what you want, that's what I'll give you, that's what we're signing up for. So welcome to the first of 155 videos covering all of the archetypes in Pathfinder 2e, until they inevitably come out with even more in future expansions. If I do one of these a week, I'll be done in about 3 years. In that amount of time, they'll probably release at least 50 more, so we better get started while we can. Today we are looking at the Acrobat, because we're going in alphabetical order, and the Acrobat, honestly, being the first archetype ever released, just because it's at the top of the Advanced Player's Guide, it's still one of my favorites to this day. For the sheer amount you get out of it, this is one of the most bang for your buck archetypes you could be looking for. Just look at this dedication. For 1 class feat at level 2, you become expert in acrobatics. Right away, level 2 is the earliest you can be expert in acrobatics, by the way, but it gets better. Level 7, you automatically become a master, which is the earliest you could be master. Level 15, you become legendary, which is the earliest you can be legendary in a skill. This one dedication, costing you 1 class feat, gives you 3 free skill increases. Sure, they're all automatically to the same skill, and you only get them over 15 levels, but that's still absolutely ridiculous. And then Paizo had the gall to put on the end that tumbling through no longer treats enemy spaces as difficult terrain. You're fighting a gargantuan creature that's 4 spaces wide, you can just tumble right through that. It doesn't cost 40 feet of movement anymore, just 20. This is nuts! Just on the dedication! Don't get used to this. Most dedications for archetypes give you almost nothing mechanically powerful. This is one of the only exceptions, and since this was the first archetype I ever read in this game, I thought, wow, archetypes are insane! At level 4, you can take Contortionist, which comes with the Quick Squeeze skill feat. Once you hit level 7 and you're master in acrobatics, you can squeeze through places at full speed, which is kinda cool, crawling through a little 5 foot wide ditch at just max 35 foot move speed. And then additionally, if you make an escape check with acrobatics, which is likely to be one of your highest bonuses anyway, if you successfully escape, the target is flat-footed against your next attack against them before the end of your turn. Next turn, wow! Once again, this archetype is just blowing a lot of things in this game out of the water. A lot of effects like this will only last until the start of your next turn, or even the end of your current turn. But the fact that this flat-footed lasts until the end of your next turn is amazing. Take this on your rogue. Get grabbed, squeeze out of it, and all of a sudden, they are flat-footed. Now, I would not recommend attacking right after escaping. This is because escaping in Pathfinder 2e is considered an attack action. It has the attack trait. As such, your next attack will be taking a multiple attack penalty. So if you want, you can use this flat-footed to sort of reduce that penalty, or if you want to play it a bit safer, wait until the next round when that multiple attack penalty is gone, but the flat-footed is still there. Dodge Away at level 6 is such a great feat. I know I keep saying that for everything in this archetype, but this is just one of the best archetypes right off the bat. Dodge Away is great, especially on something like a spellcaster who's currently lacking reactions. As a reaction, if you get attacked in melee and you're not flat-footed, you can spend your reaction to give yourself a +1 bonus to your armor class. Now this is circumstance, so keep in mind this won't stack with something like having a shield up, because that's also a circumstance bonus. But if you don't have a shield up, you use your reaction, you get +1 to your armor class, and on top of that, if the attack misses you, you can take a step action. I know that doesn't sound like much, especially to a newer player, but trust me, that is amazing. Let me paint the picture for you. It's the enemy's turn. They have 3 actions. They spend 1 action walking up to you, and they spend their second action attacking you with their greatsword. You use Dodge Away, and they miss. You get to step 5 feet for free. They only have 1 action left, so they could step to follow you, But then they're out of actions. Tough luck. This one reaction just negated their entire second attack, which is massive. And once you're a master in acrobatics, which remember you automatically will be in just one level after taking this feat, you can step 10 feet instead of just 5, which means you can even get away from someone with a reach weapon. This next feat is interesting because it has an odd level prerequisite. This is because it is a skill feat. It is very, very rare. Well, not that super rare. But sometimes you will see a feat in an archetype that has the skill tag. You do not take these by sacrificing class feats. Instead, you can just take this as a skill feat at level 7. Remember, every odd level, you get a new skill feat, which means you can unlock new skill feat options just by taking certain archetypes, like Graceful Leaper. And this is a really good option to have if you're a dexterity-based acrobat. You can now roll acrobatics instead of athletics to high jump and long jump. If you're a character with 10 strength but 19 dexterity, do you know how big of a deal this is? Especially if you don't have any training in athletics, all of a sudden your +0 to high jump just turned into what, like 7 plus 6 is 13 plus dex is like a +17 or something. That is a massive leap for one skill. Massive leap, that wasn't intentional. Do you like being able to use the tumble through action, inflict flat-footed, and get a free attack all at the same time? Well then, Tumbling Strike at level 8 is the feat for you. I know I've said this 4 times already, but this is incredible. For one action, you get to tumble through, make an acrobatics check. If you critically succeed, they become flat-footed, and you attack them. All one action. This is some of the best action economy I've ever seen in the game. Even if you normal succeed, you still get to tumble through and attack them. Even if you fail, you still get to attack them. At its worst, this is a one-action attack. The only downside about this action is that it doesn't technically count as a tumble through action. So if you're playing a swashbuckler, Tumbling Strike doesn't actually grant panache like Tumble Through does. However, this is a moment when maybe it'd be a little imbalanced, but I would 100% house rule that a swashbuckler with Tumbling Strike gains panache. I mean, you are tumbling through. You are rolling acrobatics against their reflex to move through their space. It is the exact same action with an attack on the end. Like, I know that's not how it's rules as written, but that's how I feel like it would make sense. Also keep in mind that Tumbling Strike is a flourish, so you cannot roll flat-footed stab, roll flat-footed stab, roll flat-footed stab. You can only do it once per turn. 1 second, y'all. Yeah, hey, Jason Bowman? Yo, what's up, man? I have a question. Can we make the acrobat even stronger? Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. What if they can trip people as a free action with their acrobatics instead of athletics? What do you mean imbalanced? Tumbling Opportunist! Oh my god! The big, maximum, ultimate capstone feat for the acrobat. Yeah, the acrobat stops gaining feats at level 10. That's all it gets. But for a free action, after using Tumbling Strike or Tumbling Through, you get to make a trip check as a free action that uses acrobatics instead of athletics. Oh my god! Sure, it has the attack trait, so if you use Tumbling Strike, this trip check is gonna be at -5. But guess what? Your acrobatics is through the freaking roof! If you've built around this, your acrobatics might be higher than your attack roll, so that trip will still be pretty darn accurate. Or if you just want to trip them, use Tumble Through and trip them. Holy cow, put this on a fighter or a character with attack of opportunity, and you can just set up attacks of opportunity like this. Who needs a strength-based knockdown fighter when you've got Circus Man? But yeah, that's it. Those are the only feats offered by the Acrobat archetype. This is about the average size for an archetype. Some are smaller. There's a few that are much bigger. But that doesn't hold it back. Every single feat available to the Acrobat archetype is impactful, is impressive, and And I really wish I could say the same for the rest of the archetypes. There will be videos in this series going forward where I'll be talking about archetypes I'm really upset about from a mechanical level, pirate. That doesn't mean these archetypes aren't flavorful and great for certain campaigns or characters, it just means they could have been given a little bit more love. But there you go. It's going to be kind of weird. Some of these are going to be really short. This one is definitely a bit longer because I introduced the series and everything, but going forward, don't be surprised if some of these are less than 10 minutes long. Some of these archetypes are only like 4 feats, and they're complex. They're complex, but they're only complex because of what those feats give based on other aspects of the game. I hope that made sense. I want to give a huge shout out to my patrons and YouTube members for keeping the channel alive. If you would like to join, click the blue join button below the video. It's right next to the subscribe button, which you could also click while you're down there. Thank you so much for watching and liking this video. If you want to know more about archetypes, don't forget to check out my How Archetypes Work video I made 2 years ago? How long have I been doing this? How old am I? It's a little cringy because I'm not as confident as I am now, but it's still very educational on how the archetype system works. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And until next time, no nat ones.